Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, people of all genders, identities, and sexualities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. Today's review is The City of Death, another classic Tom Baker story. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it, shall we? Our story begins on a barren world where a creature known as Skagroth is trying to take off, and as he does so, something mysterious begins to happen. As we jump to modern day, we learn that our two favourite characters, the Doctor and Miss Romana, after their last adventure, have decided to have a bit of a holiday in France. Nonetheless, but soon their holiday plans come to a swift and short turning point. As the Doctor goes to the Louvre with Romana, he begins to realize that after taking a watch off of a young lady's hand, not a watch, a bracelet off of a young lady's hand, he seems to have been followed by a detective. After a few meters, once they go into the cafe, Romana, the Doctor, and the detective are all taken into custody by the mysterious Count. Once at the Count's place, the Count begins to interrogate the Doctor and his friends, asking why they wanted to steal the bracelet in the first place and what monetary value it would have or benefit to them. The Doctor jokes that he thought it was very pretty, but the Count doesn't buy it. So, he uses his butler and sends all three of them down to the cellar to be locked up. Whilst down in the cellar, Douglas begins to rant about the fact that he believes the Count is attempting to rob the Louvre of the Mona Lisa, and that rumours have been circulating that this is what he is attempting to do. Whilst down in the basement, Romana comes across a mysterious wall with faulty brickwork, and when they go beneath the stairs, they find out that the Count already has 6 copies of the Mona Lisa in a mysterious cupboard that has been locked away behind a wall. So the Doctor, curious, begins to ask, then why does he want a 7th? Halfway through the story, the Doctor pops back in time in order to find out where the numerous amount of Mona Lisas come from. And as he does so, he bumps into another version of the Count who has been expecting him. The Count then reveals to him that he is part of an alien race who got trapped at the very beginning of time. And instead of pressing a button to lift off, they get caught in a time trap, which caused him to be fractured into multiple splinters of his self. And each version of himself, split throughout history itself, have been all working towards fixing his mistake. From Egypt to the Renaissance to ancient Aztecs, there is a piece of him throughout reality constantly striving to make sure that technology, more advanced than modern civilization, would be in his hands to make him capable of restoring himself back into a whole person. As his plan begins to come together, Skagroth gives up his false pretense of identity and reveals himself to everyone around him, including his wife, the Countess. He disposes of her and takes the time machine to head back in time to stop himself from pressing a button which would erase his history entirely and splinter him in 12 different segments of his own personality. Towards the conclusion of this story, we get a funny little cameo from these two classic legends. To me, one of the most curious things about this piece is its wonderful functionalism. and they both start to amuse at the sight of the police box being in an art gallery. And even when the police box dematerializes, they believe it to be such a beauty of art that its existence and non-existence are one and the same. The Doctor, Romana, and Duggan head back in the TARDIS 4,000 years to early Earth in order to stop Duggan from erasing his mistake and causing a rupture to time itself. The Doctor explains the reason they must stop Skagro from stopping his younger self from pressing the button is because the fluid leaking from the ship that will be ignited when this ship explodes is part of the birth of planet Earth and its civilization itself. The Doctor explains that maybe it's not exactly the biggest part, but it definitely gave Earth a little kick into life, bringing things into fruition. As the story progresses, Duggan lands a good solid punch, sending Skagro back to modern day to be defeated by one of his butlers, and the Doctor and Romana separate from Duggan, explaining to Duggan that although there may be many fakes, Leonardo did indeed make a magnificent painting, and it doesn't matter whether it's the real or fake, but there should always be a portrayal of his beautiful Mona Lisa in the Louvre. So now for the bit that you've all been waiting for. The City of Death. What is my score? Well, it's an interesting story. It has its ups and downs, and it definitely has some quick-paced moments, but also some slow-paced moments. And for this reason, I'm gonna give it a solid 6 out of 10. Personally, just because I do love this story, but I wasn't a fan of the jumping back and forward at certain points with the time period. I feel like it could have all happened in modern day France and in 4,000 years ago. But that's my only critique of it. Other than that, it's a brilliant story. So, yes, 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in another Doctor Who review. Stay beautiful.